Welcome to the latest edition of the Growing with God podcast. My name is Austin Fox. We're joined tonight on the segment by PW Junior Nolan George. He is 16 years old. He'll be talking about what it was like growing up in Pewamo and St. Joe's Parish today and how the Catholic faith has been instilled in him from a young age. Nolan, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for inviting me. Glad to be here.
So, like we just said, you grew up in the tight-knit community of St. Joseph Parish in Pewamo. What was it like growing up out there? Obviously, a pretty small community where the Catholic faith is instilled in almost all the families there. What impact did that have on you growing up there?
I really like being able to talk to everyone, and you kind of just know everyone. That sometimes can be good and bad because everyone knows everything about you, but I enjoy just being able to really put your feelings out there with all your friends because they'll have your back, and just being close to everyone can be a positive in your life.
We oftentimes talk on here about the quote-unquote bubble that we have here in the Westphalia Pewamo area, where you just said it, but so many of the families know each other, and the Catholic faith is so prevalent here in this part of the country. Your parents, you were saying right before we started, really instilled the faith in you from a young age, and obviously that's carried over into your teenage years and now that you're in high school. What did your parents do from a young age and up to present day that really made you realize how important the Catholic faith is?
Well, I've always went to church. When you're young, they kind of make you and you don't enjoy it, or during Lent, they make you give up stuff, but the older you get, the more you realize how important it is to make sacrifices, because you never really know how lucky you are till you realize that there are other people out there not as fortunate. And my parents really, over time, I realized that they were showing me that we're extremely lucky to live in this area, and that your faith is really important, and you need to always put God first because He provided a great community for us.
Was there a time or a moment in your life where it really hit you just how important God and the Catholic faith are?
I'd say once you get into middle school and people, they change and you start thinking in your head people are judging you more, and God's kind of that bubble where you can feel safe and welcome, or just when you pray, you feel like He's there and He's going to guide you through everything, and everything's going to be all right.
What does your current relationship with God look like in your life? If you could sum it up in just a few quick sentences, what would you say that relationship looks like?
It's not perfect, and it never will be perfect, but you always go to church on Sunday, and you have to pray every day. That's extremely important, and that's just about it. You have to go to confession at least every month, and that's extremely important too.
One really cool thing that you did, and I didn't really know you before this, but last summer you signed up for our annual PW Steubenville trip. It was the summer out of your sophomore year, and I think that you really acted as a role model for a lot of the younger students there. What was that Steubenville trip like for you personally?
Well, it was different because I guess I'd never gone away without my family, but I had a lot of friends there and a lot of people that I could hang around with. And I enjoyed spending time with them. And, being in those long talks and adoration isn't always fun, but the one time they brought out the Blessed Sacrament, and if you close your eyes, you could really feel it, and it just really relaxed you. And I think it's a trip worth going on.
Saturday night adoration at Steubenville is oftentimes the highlight of the trip for a lot of the PW students. There's just something incredibly profound about it, where it's a powerful, powerful experience. The priest walks around the entire gym with the monstrance, the Blessed Sacrament, and it affects a lot of the kids emotionally. Nolan, has adoration had an impact on you in your life?
Yeah, I'd say, if you've ever been to adoration, it's hard. It's not fun, but once you really get into it and just relax and maybe read the Bible or something, God can really connect with you, and it really just relaxes you, and you just know everything's going to be all right.
Who have some of the biggest faith role models been in your life throughout your first 16 years? Has there been a person or two who has had a bigger impact on you in the Catholic faith than anybody else?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate with all my cousins and aunts and uncles, and of course my parents. They were big role models, and my brother and sisters, but in particular I have two older cousins who, I might not talk to about faith a lot, but they're really good silent leaders. They're always in adoration. They're always in church, and you can tell that they're living their life for God, and it's really cool to watch and talk to them about.
We were talking about your dad just a little bit too before we started recording, and the spiritual impact that he's had on you, and the phrase spiritual leader of the household was used as well. Has he kind of set the blueprint for you in terms of what a strong Catholic man and husband should look like leading his household?
Yeah, he shows me how to, treat my mom, treat women, and how to be respectful to others. And he's tried to show me that everything in life happens for a reason, and God really he has a plan for you. No matter how hard it gets, it's all going to be good in the end. It's all good. Your life's it's going to work out.
I've seen you be a role model for a lot of the guys and students in general at PW in terms of how you live out your faith. Right before we started, you used the term silent role model, and I think that's absolutely awesome. What did you mean by that?
Well, I first thought of it in baseball. My coach he might know Logan Drysdale is a silent role model or leader because he's good and just shows everyone how to work hard. And if you interpret that into your faith, you can really just show like your younger cousins or your younger brothers and sisters just how to act and how to treat others. And you can just, by praying and going to church, you just show them how the faith is important, and they'll follow you just like younger brothers watch their older brothers play basketball or something. They'll do exactly what you do because they look up to you.
Being a spiritual leader and silent role model can obviously carry out throughout your entire life, and as you get older, do you hope to be married someday and hopefully have that same goal of being the spiritual leader of your own household?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I'm so young right now. I don't know what God has planned for me, but as of now, I'd hope to get married one day, but time will tell, and we'll just see how my life goes.
As of now, you said that you're on the baseball team. You're also on the PW varsity boys basketball team. How do you incorporate faith and just prayer overall into both of those sports?
Well, in a public school, you can't really truly express your faith, but something you can do is just before a game, when you get nervous and stuff, you can just close your eyes and say a quick prayer, and that can really calm you down and just get you ready for the game.
Is there a time or two in the past, whether it be a game or event or whatever the case may be, where it did provide a lot of comfort and relaxation before the game started?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You mentioned also right before we started that you oftentimes say the Rosary and Divine Mercy Chaplet during Lent. I think it was this past Lent especially. What impact did that have on you when you picked up that habit?
It really it gives you peace of mind, and it gives you time. Like every day I'd say it after school, and it just gives me an escape. Like before I do homework or before I go to practice, it just makes me feel better after I say it. It just relaxes me.
Nolan, before we wrap up, we have just a few kind of fun, quick hitters for you. Who's your favorite saint? Is there a saint that you're especially close to in your life?
Well, my confirmation saint is Saint Francis of Assisi, and I just like him because, he was good with animals and the outdoors, and I enjoy that.
What year were you confirmed, or how recently were you confirmed?
It was 8th grade, so I think that was 2020.
Okay. We oftentimes tell our confirmation students, don't choose your saint, let the saint choose you. Did you see it play out that way? Did you kind of have a calling towards St. Francis?
I don't know for sure, but I guess maybe the outdoors and looking at it that way, he might have called me towards it. And just the animals, I like to look outside and watch the birds, and that might have been some sort of calling.
How about a favorite Bible verse? Any Bible verse that really hits home with you?
One of my favorites is John chapter 8. The one, and it's when Jesus is with the prostitute, and he tells the priest or something, the one who is without sin, be the one to cast the first stone. And I just think that's really important because a lot of times we like to just judge people and see the bad in others, but really we gotta look at ourselves first because we're just as bad as everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's really cool that you threw that one out there because obviously nobody is without sin, and who are we to judge others for the wrong things that they've done? Does it help you, that Bible verse right there, help you to view people differently and kind of put in perspective what they may be going through?
Yeah, it's important to just recognize that you just never know what someone else is going through, and you you always got to treat others like you would like to be treated, and you just have to think about what others, they might be struggling, and maybe just saying hi might change their day, or if you're being mean to them, that might just ruin their day. So you always just got to be nice to everyone.
Nolan, it's not always easy sharing your faith publicly like this, but this takes a lot of courage for you to come on here and talk about Jesus Christ and the impact that he's having in your life. I think it's safe to say that you're an inspiration and a light of Christ for a lot of people. So thank you so much for coming on tonight, man. It's been a blast doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you also, everybody who listens to this on a regular basis. We're truly grateful to have you all here with us. Until we put out our next one, we hope you guys all have a blessed rest of your week.